Hopefully, everyone can hear us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are a part of the Darrell Bailey Real Estate team. How are you guys doing out there? I'm going to go ahead and add in one more special guest. Well, as she gets settled, we're going to let her get settled and come in. But welcome, everybody. Welcome to the live webinar. We are a part of the Darrell Bailey Real Estate team. So, hello, hello, hello. My name is Jazmyne McNeese. I am a part of the Darrell Bailey Real Estate team, and I mostly work with buyers. I have listings as well, but that's my specialty. That's my hot spot. I'm all over New Jersey, so north or south. I say as far south as like Gloucester County, and as far north as like Teaneck. That's as far as I've been driving. So that's me. That's a little bit about myself. I want to introduce my team members here. Let's go ahead with Raeemah. Would you like to introduce yourself to the public really briefly?
Hi, everyone. My name is Raeemah. I am with the Darrell Bailey Real Estate team. I do work with these nice young ladies here. We are a team that makes sure that we're taking care of our clients every day. My specialty right now is being on the listing side, but I do work with buyers mostly selling multifamilies in Essex County. Pretty much anywhere in Essex County. I don't have a specific area that I target. I do work with investors as well. So my specialty is really working with investors and buying and getting people with their multifamilies.
That's right. And we do have another special guest. Go ahead, Pruvi. Introduce yourself to the public. Let them know about what you do and how you've been killing it out here in the real estate game.
Hey everyone, welcome to the live. My name is Pruvi Pierre. I am also with the Darrell Bailey Real Estate team, of course. I specialize in listings, but I also help buyers if need be. But my specialty is listings. If you're looking for a certain amount, I have proven strategies to help you get to the amount that you're looking for.
I know that's right. And we're going to get into some of them strategies a little bit later, but I just wanted to reset the room. Welcome to all of you who are joining us. We do have folks that are joining us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. So I just want to say hi to y'all out there. Feel free. Don't be weird. Drop a chat and let us know what your questions are. If you have questions about real estate, about maybe buying a home, you're looking to buy a home soon, or maybe you're looking to sell your home. Hi, baby. We are working people. Hey, we do real estate every single day. And we have moms on our team, so you're gonna see the babies come through. We always like to keep it real in real estate because that's what we do. I definitely wanted to let you guys know that we're here to help, right? So we have connections to those lenders. We're out there helping our clients every single day, and we're always doing transactions. So I definitely want you all to feel comfortable to ask questions. Put your questions in the chat. I'll go ahead and filter those throughout our session today so that you can get your questions answered and get connected as soon as possible, right? Those interest rates are dropping, so that's another hot topic that I'll touch on a little bit today. So I just wanted to go ahead and let you guys know that and let you guys know kind of what we'll be talking about today. So let's just start off on a good note, right? We've been having a good week. We've been having a very good week. And I really wanted to let you guys know that we have been closing. And I know for a fact that Pruvi has had an amazing week. And I definitely wanted to see if she wanted to share some of her wins and the things that she's been doing for her clients out here in the real estate.
Yes, this month was a really good month. I had an almost $1 million listing sale this ago. We were initially under contract $999,000, which is $1 short of $1 million. The appraisal came back at $975,000. However, my client was I represented both. However, the seller was still able to walk away with $995,000 because of the appraisal contingency that was put in place, where the buyer agreed that if the home didn't appraise for up to $20,000, they would cover that gap. So the gap came into place, and they covered the $20,000, which brought us back to $995,000. So that was a huge win. For my seller client, a lot of people are probably wondering, well, why would a buyer pay $20,000 over value, even though this is their first home, a home that they'll be moving into? Number one, there's competition. So by putting in the appraisal contingency, it helped their offer to be stronger. Number two, I always tell my clients that appreciation is truly the play in real estate right now. Appreciation actually more than a rent roll for the year. If my client who just sold the house, she purchased it for around $700,000. She sold it for $995,000. She only owned the home for 3 years. The rent rolls for those 2 years didn't even accumulate to the appreciation, meaning the profit that she made when she made the sale. So appreciation is basically the home's value over time. So you're not just investing in a home for you to move into, but you're also investing into the value of the house. This is an investment, whether it's a single family, multi-family. At the end of the day, it's an investment. So don't be afraid to go over asking. The second closing I had, my buyer went over asking as well. It took us a while. Teamwork makes the dream work. Raeemah helped me a lot on that deal. And she definitely was a major player in helping me bring it to the closing table. So all transactions are not smooth. That one was one of them. It took about 4 to 5 months to close on that one, I want to say. But, we saw through it, and my clients are now in their new home. So they're happy. I'm happy. Everybody wins.
We love to hear it. I mean, it's not every day that a chance to actually get insight from a realtor who's doing the transactions, right? And giving you real-time data as to why someone would pay over asking for a house within reason, and why it makes sense to work with a realtor that can get you exactly what you're looking for and get you an asset that's going to appreciate, because the appreciation game is something that people are not necessarily talking about. We're talking about interest rates all the time, and we're talking about how much money we're trying to save on the interest rate, but we're not talking about how much money we would make via the appreciation. On-rich homes appreciate 6% each year, and it seems like it's going to be a lot faster, and has been a lot faster over recent years. And so if you guys aren't working with realtors who can do this for you, who can walk you through these policies and can get you the asset that's going to actually appreciate, you definitely need to tap in and start to talk to us, because at no point should you have any of those questions. You should definitely be looking to work with someone that's going to get you exactly what you need. I also wanted to ask Raeemah, are there any properties that we have on the market right now that folks can look forward to? Anything coming up, anything that's out there that you can kind of help our guests? Because we're talking about the deals that we're closing, but like, what properties do we have? Do we have anything for our buyers to buy?
Yes, absolutely. So we have a property that's coming to the market for $320,000 in Orange. The address is 546 Liberty Avenue, Liberty Street. My apologies, in Orange. We also have 142 Greenwood Avenue in East Orange. So those are the two properties that we have to offer as a team right now that haven't even. The Greenwood is on the market, but Liberty Street will be coming. Absolutely. So if anybody's interested before it hits the market, I'll take those offers too.
I know that's right. So I'm telling y'all, I'm really glad that she was able to share those little tidbits with y'all. So that's an exclusive from us, only because we do have folks who have actually registered for our live webinar. So they are getting this information firsthand. So if you have not registered for this webinar, you absolutely should, because we can give you our deals live. We can give you that information live, and you can get access to that information as soon as we get it, right? So you want to make sure that you register for our webinar. We can shoot this information to you. Those of you who have registered, we will go ahead and email some of those properties out to you so that you can go ahead and get your bids in as soon as possible. We're all about doing deals. We're all about helping our clients, and everything that we do, we want to make sure that we're getting you to closing tables. So those of you who were able to pick up those deals just now, you guys are in luck. That is definitely an exclusive. everybody doesn't get access to that. So I am super happy that she was able to share that with us. Just and this is just a question, you guys, for our listeners. We do have some folks who seem to have a few questions for us. So what are some tips and sellers considering the market conditions and what you guys have been like experiencing? What would you say some tips are for buyers and sellers? Either one of you can go first.
Go first, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You go. I couldn't get it all.
My tips for sellers is don't be afraid to go under the number that you're looking to get. A lot of times when I have listing consultations with sellers, they give me a number. I say, okay, let's bring it down and list it at a certain price that's under what their target is. And it's like, no, I don't want to do that because I don't want to get less. You definitely want to make sure that your home is reaching the most people as possible. So especially in this market, buyers know that they have to overbid to get a property. So by listing the property a little bit lower, it actually gives people who can afford the bigger number and overbid and get to the target that you want, it gives them the opportunity and encouragement to do so. So don't be afraid to bring the number down a little bit. You want to make the pool as possible so you can create that competition and potentially get even more than what you're looking for. For buyers, my advice to them is don't be afraid to, if it's a house that you really want, don't be afraid to do what it takes to get that property. And when I say do what it takes, I mean, if you have it in your budget, don't be afraid to go over. Don't be afraid of what you think is at that moment. As I said earlier, this is an investment. So you can't lose. Whether, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, you're not going to sell your home in a year. You're not going to, get rid of it so quickly. Mommy, I got some demanding children right now. But don't be afraid because it is an investment and it's an investment that you won't lose on. Your 401k will not give you the revenue back the way a home will. So real estate is honestly the best investment that you can make. So I know this is probably, you're probably entering your first transaction and it's the biggest amount of money that you're spending. I totally get that. But, with great opportunity, you have to put in, some great work, some great investment. So don't be afraid. My advice to buyers, do not be afraid. Go full force. If you want it, do what you got to do to get it.
Yeah.
All right, and I'll just piggyback off of that. I would just say, just for what Pruvi's saying, and also to see how lucky she is to spend time with her, because investments with your multifamilies, which I'm always trying to push on people, can allow you to be able to do that. Spend more time and make money with your tenants if you're in a property that has multiple streams of income. So I do feel like I always tell my buyers to try as their first home, because that was my experience, to get a multifamily, live in a unit and make the money on the other unit. So that's one thing I would like to share with the buyers. For the sellers, I just feel like education is the key. If your real estate agent can't give you education, it's kind of, and I really hate to say this, but it's not a good thing, because we all need education when selling a home. Anything with real estate, you need to have education before you can move forward with anything, because if you don't have the education, you can leave money on the table. Now we have everything with the settlement, and everybody is just trying to figure out what's going to happen. What are we doing here? So if you have an agent that don't have that much education, it's scary. So you don't want your clients to be afraid, and you want to be able to give them that information so they know that they are trusting you with this information. So that's what I would give to the sellers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you said that. I think one of the things, and if you haven't gotten her contact information below, I have already dropped contact information. Is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So if y'all trying to figure out how can I get in contact, girls, it's there. The contact information is there. So please do reach out as soon as you can, right? Let's not waste any time. And I think it's interesting that, you know, she talked a little bit about the settlement, right? Raeemah talked about the settlement. The National Association of Realtors, if you guys have not heard yet, has put into effect a law. And not, I wouldn't say they put into effect. They went to court and they lost. So the settlement, that agreement that came out of that, was changes in the real estate market that will definitely change our industry. For New Jersey, those changes took place. They took place August 1st. And for the rest of the world, that hit pretty much August 17th. And what we've been experiencing is that education piece that Raeemah spoke of, right? So like some realtors don't necessarily know what's happening. They don't necessarily know how to navigate the real estate market considering these changes. If you are working with a realtor right now and they have not mentioned these changes to you at all, you definitely need to have a conversation with another realtor. I think it's really important that that you all start to not only educate yourselves, but surround your folks with people who know exactly what's going on, because it will affect your transaction. And I wanted to touch a little bit on that really briefly, just so that we can get an understanding for folks who don't necessarily know what's happening or don't know what's going on. Just to give, if you can give our folks just a brief overview. How does, from your perspective and like the transactions that you've been working on, right? Because we've all experienced how this change has happened different, because we're all working with different clients, and it's going to affect you differently based on your income level, based on your method of payment, or how you're going to finance your property, right? And what kind of properties you want, how you want your relationship with your realtor to go. I think we will find out that some of this will affect buyers more so than sellers, and we've talked about in past webinars as well. So if you haven't tapped into us, please do. We've been talking about this for a few weeks now, but just to give our folks a little bit of an update and bring them up to speed on kind of what's happening now. How have you all been experiencing these NAR settlement changes, and how is it affecting buyers and sellers from your point of view? Ray, do you want to talk to us first?
Sure. So just today, actually, I had a seller call me because we had to have him sign a form saying that he would actually compensate the buyer that bought his client. And he was confused about the fact that he already signed a promissory that he will pay me, and then now he got one to pay this other person. So usually, they just sign that one document that they will pay their listing agent, and then the listing agent is splitting that out. So yes, it is very confusing, and it makes you, as an agent, if you don't have the education to explain it to them thoroughly, it can make it look like you're trying to double dip. Mm-hmm. So I would say always ready to pull up the document, let them read it, go over it with them. I don't care how many times it is, because they are trusting you with their money. They're not expecting for you to ask them to pay the buyer's agent 2% and pay you a commission of a certain amount. So mm-hmm. Just be ready for that. Mm-hmm. That's what I experienced personally.
Yeah, that's a good point. Pruvi, what about you? What are you seeing?
For myself, I just recently put a home under contract, which, plays into the new rules now. And it was a very tedious process, because a lot of the buyers wanted to know, or some of the buyers wanted to know before they showed the house, what she expect for commission. So as listing agents, we just have to be prepared and educate not only our sellers, but educating buyers agents as well on what to expect. So before, once we had the listing appointment, I did explain to my clients the change that was coming into place, and how we could expect the change to come in with certain forms. So once the offers started to come in, my sellers were already privy to and expected for the offers to come in the way that they did come in. So it was a pretty smooth transaction. It's just important to understand that you as the seller, even though you're given permission to the money to be allocated to the buyer, the buyer's agent, essentially it is the buyer that's paying that fee. It's their loan. So, I always separate. What I have been doing was I've been separating the amount that the seller is getting, and then I explain to them the portion that's going to the buyer's agent. So if it's $450 and $10,000 of that $450 is going, I let them know, okay, the offer is for $440, really, and it's the buyer is taking out a loan for $450, and they would like to allocate $10,000 to their buyer's agent, so they know off the bat they're not getting $450, they're getting $440. A good question that my seller did ask me is, well, is your commission coming off of the $440 or the $450? So, which was actually a really good question, because technically they're not getting $450, they're getting $440. However, the commission does come off of the purchase price in its entirety. So I did have to disclose to them at that time in review of the offers that my commission would be based off of the $450. But thankfully, they did have a problem.
Okay with that. I'm actually really glad you shared that story because it's so funny. This is the reason why you have to ask questions, and this is the prime example why you should work with a good realtor, right? Because they're going to be able to walk you through the process. 2, they're going to be able to explain to you all the documents they're going to be signing. 3, they're going to prepare you for the offer they're going to accept, right? Because all money ain't good money. And it's really important that you work with somebody that's able to decipher between what's real, what's not, how much are you really getting, how much am I really getting paid, right? We're going to disclose, we're going to be transparent. There's nothing like that. We don't have anything to hide, right? We're trying to help you get to the closing table, and we only get paid if you close, right? And so it's in our best interest to make sure that you get exactly what you're asking for. And I think it's really important that you work with professionals like us who pretty much operate in that way. I think it's imperative. One of the things that I'm seeing in the market, and I think it's really interesting now too, because of like the changes in the NAR settlement buyer side, we have a lot more questions. And to be honest with you, I don't think we're asking enough questions. I do think I do think, especially I see a few folks that are like floating in and out of our of our streams. They're asking questions and then they'll hop back in because it just seems like folks are nervous. And I don't want folks to be nervous to ask the right questions, right? Because the only stupid question is the one that's not asked. It's really important that you reach out to us and ask us exactly what you have on your mind, because there's a couple things that you need to know as a buyer, right? Going through after these changes. One, you're more than likely going to have to pay your agent, right? It's very seldom that we get a seller that's going to fulfill the full commission for the buyer side. They may consider partial, they may, but it's very far and few in between. So just on a kind of like the probability or the likelihood that your entire agent's commission is going to be covered by the seller is probably slim to none, right? At this point, right? It used to be that it was kind of automatic and we were kind of just like operating, we were working with the listing agent and doing it that way. That way the buyer agent already knew what they were going to be getting paid prior to working. That has all been cut out because of this settlement. And so I just want you to understand that piece. So the first thing is you're going to have to sign an agreement with an agent. If you want to purchase property, if you want to see a house, you're going to have the agent. That agreement can look like one day. It can look like 3 months. It can look like 9 months. It can look like a year, 2 years, whatever you decide you agree to. How are they going to get paid? You also have to decide that. Is it going to be a retainer? Is it going to be a percentage of the purchase price? All of that is going to be up to your discussion with the realtor, and they get to decide what their fee is. And you get to decide and negotiate what works for you. That's pretty much what we've come to because of this settlement. Those are the biggest things. You're not going to be able to see a property without a realtor or a signed agreement. And 2, you have to discuss with your realtor how much you're going to have to pay them in order for them to close on a property with you. Right? Those are two things that are important. What I think is not being talked about enough is how that's going to affect your ability to purchase a house. And I think that's so important, right? Because the same example that Pruvi just gave us, like beautifully illustrated, I think it's important that you understand that, yes, if you do add on that agent commission to the purchase price of the house, you are going to have to increase your loan amount to cover that. And if you're doing that, then it's going to increase your monthly payment a little bit, right? We're not talking about maybe depending on, your purchase price and how much that actually is and what all those numbers are, right? We can't necessarily predict that. But because we can't, it's important that you, one, get pre-approved, right? We need to get pre-approved. We need to look and see how much we can actually purchase for. And then two, you need to work with your realtor and see, based on the purchase price, based on how much you've been pre-approved for, whether you're using hard money or whether you're using cash or whatever. If you're using cash, it's normally a proof of funds, right? Remove any identifying information, but as long as it says your name, the bank that it's coming from, and how much is in it, we're fine with that, because it's going to be verified at a later date. So don't send us false documents, because it's going to be vetted. But that's what all we would need in terms of like proof of funds, right? And as realtors, we vet our proof of funds. We qualify, we triple check our clients' pre-qualifications, right? And pre-approvals. So that's something to note, right? So you want to get that pre-approval or that proof of funds letter. And then you want to talk to your realtor about what their fees are. And so that you can map out how much you're actually going to be paying. So before you even start seeing houses, how much money you're going to have to work with, how much money you have to be accountable for your down payment, right? You will know that once you get pre-approved. And then about, just how much you're responsible for in terms of commission. And it'll help you search for houses that are in your price range and help you stay there. And I think that's really important. So those are the things that I think I'm missing from buyers. I don't think they're really inquisitive about how them having to pay their realtor is going to actually affect their ability to close. And that's usually a conversation that I have with my clients in like a consultation or something of that sort. I think that's important. But that's kind of what I'm seeing in the market right now. As far as it comes to this settlement, I want to see if we had any additional questions. I have one question here that says, how can I find out more information about the settlement? I'm glad you asked. I do have an article. I'm going to go ahead and post it for our folks who have registered for the webinar. You guys are going to get this. We'll email this out. But I'll share this article with you all. And I'll also share it in the chats as well, so you guys can see it. I'm going to go ahead and paste that here. So I'm pasting that link to the article so that you guys can read about it. And that just gives you some more information about kind of what's going on. But in a nutshell, where it says things to know as a home buyer or seller, if you're a buyer and your agent is using an MLS, you will need to sign a written agreement with your agent before touring a home, so you understand exactly what services will be provided and for how much. I don't know what better way to say it, but they just outlined it in a nutshell. Like if there was something you needed to know, that's it. The other thing that they note is that written agreements are required for both in-person and virtual home tours, right? So you need an agreement in order to see a house. And that agent compensation for home buyers and sellers continues to be fully negotiable. So we can't tell you on average how much it's going to be. We can't tell you what somebody else is going to charge. You have to speak specifically to the agent that you're going to be working with in order to understand how much you're going to be responsible for. That's important. And so they also note that on this article as well, they say when finding an agent to work with, ask questions about their services, compensations, and written agreements. And so I don't know, we just wanted to kind of drive that home. That's what's happening within our settlement. That's how it's kind of been affecting the market and some things that we've been working on. But we wanted to keep you all up to date on kind of what's happening. And I wanted to, before I shift into like a mini consultation, just so that you guys can get an idea of what that looks like, I wanted to ask these ladies before they leave us. I just wanted to ask these ladies, do you all have any like lasting advice for our buyers and sellers who are in the market in Jersey today? We know that interest rates are dropping, right? And we're waiting for that for a while. We know folks' pockets have been like, everybody's been itching. Like, I'm waiting for these interest rates to drop. And now that they I think they're around like 5 or 6 more recently we've been hearing. So now the interest rates are dropping. What are your tips and advice for buyers and sellers in today's market? Currently, we're in New Jersey, so folks who are still looking for properties, we're licensed in different states, but we currently located in New Jersey. So just give folks an idea of what they should be prepared for with interest rates dropping. Ray, you want to go first?
Sure. So I would just give the advice to contact me if you are interested in buying a home. Contact number is 862-212-3460. I am available to assist you with any education that I can possibly give you. And I would just say utilize all of the tools that's out there for you when they're having loan programs that's giving you money to buy a home. Maybe you don't have you want down payment assistance. We have lenders that we are dealing with on a day-to-day basis that we can offer you, and having an attorney that has education that we can refer you to as well. So I just think that now is the time. They are not really giving away land anymore. So I need you to not be scared and go and take the leap of faith that's going to help you with your investment.
Absolutely. Pruvi, what about you? Your advice, tips for these folks now the interest rates are dropping. What should sellers and buyers be prepared for? What do you think?
Be prepared for more competition for sellers. Be prepared for more offers. Be prepared for overbids. Lower interest rates naturally will work in the favor of sellers because it gives more buyers the opportunity to place bids in properties. For buyers, I feel that the lower interest rates definitely gives you more buying power. Your monthly payment will not be as expensive, which is a burden on you per month. So will it be a little harder? Because there's gonna be a lot of y'all. Yes. I am so sorry today. Today is it's a lot going on today, but so it's good for buyers with lower interest rates because you definitely do have more buying power. So take advantage of that, especially with the fact of you trying to loop in your buyer's agent's fee into the payment for the home. So that definitely alleviates the pressure of the payment from that as well. So it definitely lightens the load for the buyers for sure. Is it more competition? Yes. But it lightens the load.
And yes, please do note Pruvi's contact information below, you all. Please do reach out. We are buying and selling houses every single day. So it's really important for you all to reach out to somebody who's actually in the market and knows this stuff inside and out. I'm going to say thank you to these ladies and let them go off into the ether, but best to believe that you guys can still contact them because I'm going to have their contact information rolling at the bottom of the screen, and then I'll wrap up with you all as we wrap up here. Thank you all, ladies, for stopping by.
Welcome.
Absolutely.
Good luck with your buyer's consultation, everyone.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Yes.
See you later.
Bye.
So I definitely wanted to let you all know that we are here to help you. It's really important that you work with somebody that's going to give you the information you need to get the deals done, because that's what we're here to do. I definitely wanted to share a little bit of a consultation just so that you all can get an idea and a feel for how we do business and what this work and how this works, right? If you're a buyer and you're looking to start working with a realtor right now, like what questions should you be asking? What information do you need to know, right? So let's see if we can pull some of that up here. One of the things that we'll start to do, and as a buyer's agent, do this all the time. We'll talk about your timeline for selling a house, right? That's really important, or buying a house. It's really important, right? And some of you may sell in order to buy a home, right? And that's something we have to talk through. So how do you actually do that? Well, here at the Darrell Bailey Real Estate team, we do consultations with our buyers. We like to take time to work with you to make sure that you're able to get the home that you need, so that we can make sure that we're getting you exactly what you need access to, right? So we're going to talk about your timeline. When are you moving? Is it as soon as possible? Is this an emergency situation, right? Because then we're going to have to use different resources. Are we talking about 3 to 6 months? Do we have time to prepare? What are we thinking about, right? You really want to start looking, I want to say 60 days before you actually want to move, to give yourself some time. And as you all just heard Pruvi and Raeemah tell you, that the interest rates are dropping, right? So the amount of people who are going to be searching is going to increase, which means it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to find that house that you really, really want without being outbid or without any competition, right? We're near competition over here, but it is something to know, right? It is something for you to be aware of, that maybe the odds of me finding something in the timeline that I'm interested in, it may change because the market has changed. And so those are some of the things that you have to think about as a buyer, as you're trying to buy real estate in today's market. And you also want to think about your top, I want to say 3 priorities, right? What are your 3 priorities? Does it need to have a backyard? Right? Do you need to have an open floor plan? Right? Does the backyard need to be fenced in? Is that something that's really, really important to you? When it comes to the area, are schools really important to you? Right? We can't tell you what schools are good or bad, right? But we can give you resources so that you can see how the schools are nationally ranked or locally ranked. We can give you that kind of information so that you can make the best decision. And obviously, through word of mouth and through friends and relationships, we find out more information that helps us make really good decisions about where we want to buy our homes at, right? But I always like to tell my buyers, you're not just buying a home. You're buying a community. You're buying your neighbors. You're buying an asset. You're buying the folks that are around you that are going to give you information on the home that you're interested in. And it's really, really, really important that you understand that and that you pay attention to those things, because if you're not, best to believe somebody else is, right? You never want to pass up an opportunity because you didn't have the education and didn't know what you had when it was in your hand. Those are some of the things that we talk about when we do buyers consultations with our buyers. Something else to note when you are looking for a house: have you been pre-qualified yet? We talked a little bit about how the NAR settlement has affected the real estate industry. And what it basically means is that now you need to know how much you want to spend when you're looking to buy a house, because it will help you know how much you need to pay your realtor as a buyer. And how it works? Well, the realtor is usually paid on the purchase price of the house, right? So whatever your max purchase price. And if you don't know how much you want to spend on the house, then you don't necessarily know how much you would have to pay your realtor. You also have to ask your realtor what their fees are and have that conversation. But the easiest way to know is to know how much you want to spend on the house, and whatever percentage or retainer fee or whatever you all discuss, it'll be a percentage of whatever the purchase price of the house is. And if you haven't been pre-qualified, if you're not working with a hard money lender, if you're an investor, because I work with investors as well. If you are not working with a hard money lender, or if you're not working with a mortgage financing company, or if you're not working with someone who can give you information about your finances and how that is applicable to the asset that you're interested in purchasing, reach out to us so that we can get you taken care of. I think that's really important, that you know exactly how much you're spending and what you're spending your money on. Something else that you might want to pay attention to is how much are you planning on spending for a down payment. Now, I will debunk the myth that you need 20% to put down on a house. You do not need 20% to put down on a house, right? It just depends on what loan product you get. And I'm not a lender, but I can refer you to lenders that can help you get assessed very quickly. I think it's really important that you reach out, especially to realtors or people that are actively in the business, and you take their referrals, because they're probably going to be giving you referrals to folks who they've worked with that actually have closed deals and got them done. Sometimes we and no shade to the Rocket Mortgages of the world, but sometimes we see these online applications and we see these people that we don't necessarily have tangible relations with or tangible relationships with, and it makes it very, 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 very hard to trust that you know that you're doing the right thing. Sometimes you just need to talk to somebody that can break it down for you. Sometimes you just need to have a conversation with someone that can explain to you what your financial situation is and how it can apply to something else. And sometimes when you're using those online applications, they are just using a blind set of criteria, and they're saying, yes, you fit it, or no, you don't. When you actually speak with a local lender, you're probably speaking with somebody that's going to say, hey, we can make this work if you do X or if we do Y. And sometimes that's a better conversation to have. And you may be missing out on opportunities because you haven't been able to talk to a real person. So that's just something that I talk about a lot with my clients, especially when we're doing consultations. And the other one is, do you have any specific neighborhoods in mind, right? Specifically for me, I cover both New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and my team members cover New Jersey as well. And so we cover the gamut. So it's really important that you reach out to someone that can help you with that information and help answer questions for you, because a lot of the times we don't necessarily questions because we don't know what to ask, or we're afraid, or maybe folks would expect us to know more. It's really not that big of a deal. We work with high net worth individuals. We work with developers. We work with investors, all the way down to first time home buyers where they're just getting started, or second time home purchasers, or investors who are just trying to get their feet wet and figure out what it looks like. Like Raeemah said earlier, the land is not going away. It's not going away. So it's really important that you reach out to us, because we have property for sale. We have land for sale. Those of you who were tapping into us a little bit earlier, you kind of heard, you got the exclusive to some of the properties that we have coming on the market. So if you weren't listening, I hope you were. If you weren't, please run this back so that you can hear what those properties are, because you're getting the exclusive from us, right? We're doing real estate every single day. I also do have a listing, 104 Middlesex Street in Gloucester. That property is on the market for $113,000. Does have a tenant that's paying $1,300 a month. Again, another exclusive. So if you have anyone who's interested in purchasing that property, that's in Gloucester City, that's in Camden County. So feel free to reach out to us. We can help you because we do deals every day. That's what we do. The other thing I wanted to run by you all is a little bit of our buyer's consultation process. And I want to go ahead and share that with you now. I'm going to go ahead and share. Give me 1 second. And I want you guys to be able to see just some of the things that we talk about and some of the conversations that we like to have with our clients. And I'm going to switch to that now. All right. So if you didn't know, the one question that I always want to talk to people about is, are you ready to buy, right? That's what you need to know. Are you ready to buy? If you are, you have around a 620 credit score. Why? Because that also allows you to still be eligible for grant funded programs. You want to have with the same, you have worked 2 years with the same company or in the same industry, right? So if you quit a job or just got let go from a job, but you're ended up working in the same industry, you still qualify and you're still able to buy your home. Do you have your cash ready for your down payment and closing costs? Not sure? Make sure you speak with the lender so that you can get pre-qualified, so you know how much house you can actually buy. You also want to have 2 months of pay stubs and bank statements. Why? Because they want to make sure that they can verify your income, that you're actually making income and that you can actually qualify for the house that you're going to be purchasing. You want to have low to medium debt. For my folks who are using student loans, I know I had this issue. They did change the mortgage calculation a couple years back. So if you were afraid to kind of go into buying a house or getting a mortgage because you were afraid of what was going to happen, do speak with a local lender, because I have student loan debt too. And I still bought a house. So it's really important that you talk to some folks that can actually help you. And you also want to have your proof of funds, right? For my investors, you want to, if you have cash ready, you want to make sure you have that ready to go. The other thing we want to talk about is how we get you through that process. It's through your home search. We want to know, why are we moving? You want to know what's your current home, your current configurations. Where are you at now? Where are you at now, and what are you trying to replicate in the future? And sometimes we might not even be looking to purchase for ourselves. Sometimes we actually might be trying to purchase an investment property. So do you know what you're looking for? Do you know what areas you want to be in? Are you trying to attract commuters as your renters? Are you trying to attract students as your renters? Are you trying to attract families as your renters? What are you trying to attract? And so all of these questions still apply to you, even if you're an investor looking for a property, because a lot of the times as investors, we buy property and then we don't necessarily have the plan for maintenance or collecting rent payments or trying to understand how are we going to build this cash flow. We don't necessarily have that plan. And luckily, if you work with the Darrell Bailey Real Estate team, we have that plan for you. So not only can we help you buy and purchase your house, we can also help you fill out your rentals, right? It's really important that you work with us so that you can get those things done. What price range do you want to be in? What concerns do you have? I've had clients who were very cognizant of where the sun rose and where it set because it fit their religious curiosity. And I think it's really important that you work with a realtor who's open to having those kind of conversations with you so that you can buy the property that actually fits you. And sometimes we won't be able to know that, and we won't be able to address that if you don't have those types of conversations with us. And how long do you actually plan on staying in the house, right? For my investors, how long do you actually plan on keeping this asset, right? So we know exactly what we need to do. Even for my newer investors who are buying owner occupied, how long do you plan on staying in the house? Some of you may purchase with grants and things of that sort. And sometimes you'll purchase that property with a grant, and that grant says that you have to stay in the house for at least 5 years. And now you have to give all the money back if you decide to move out sooner. So it's really important that we have these kinds of conversations and ask these questions, because sometimes we don't necessarily know how the things that we want to do may jeopardize the assets that we're purchasing and that we have already. So there's just something to pay attention to. Some of our searching tools, obviously the MLS. I know some of you are searching using Zillow. Usually that's our general kind of ways we use websites. All of that is fine. The MLS is important just because we have that are embedded in the MLS that aren't necessarily accessible everywhere. That gives you more information about a property than you normally would, which is why it's important that you work with a realtor, because sometimes that information isn't even in the MLS. Sometimes that information comes out because we worked with this person before, or because we've had conversations with realtors and we know exactly what's happening and how transactions are moving, because the data is updated in real time, right? In order for you to submit an offer, that's just an email. So things happen very quickly in real estate. And that's just something to keep in mind. Referrals, sometimes properties come through us through referrals. We shared some properties with you all today, so please do run this recording back so that you can get access to those properties if you were looking for deals that you can invest in New Jersey today. Go ahead and replay that instant replay back so that you can get those updates. We also do open houses. We will be doing an open house for 142 Greenwood next week on Saturday from 12 to 2. So if you're interested in that property, I believe it's around $500,000. I believe it's 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. So please do reach out if you're interested in a property. And that one, I think, is in East Orange. So reach out if you're interested in that property, and I will be there next week. So I'll see some of you there, and hopefully you reach out to so that you can get access to that property. We also have electronic signatures. So a lot of the NAR settlement stuff is going to boil down to forms. It's going to boil down to forms, and it means that you're going to have to fill out additional documentation, and you just need to work with somebody who's going to be able to explain to you exactly what you're signing. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And usually those forms include a CIS form, and that means Consumer Information Statement. And that's just saying these are the agency relationships in New Jersey. This is what a buyer agent does. This is what a seller agent does. This is what a transaction coordinator would do, like just blanket information about the real estate industry. You might end up signing also a dual agency form, which says that I may show you houses that myself or someone from my brokerages has as a listing, right? So just letting you know that I may be showing you a property that I already have as a listing. That's just something we just like to fully disclose that. And then the other form that you may sign is your exclusive buyer agency agreement, right? And that's what we've been talking about a little bit earlier. And that agreement is basically saying and explaining to you, like, this is our relationship between the client and the realtor. What we're going to do is this is how we're going to operate. These are the houses we're going to see. These are the types of properties we're going to see. This is the agreement that we have, and this is how much your realtor is going to get paid. And that's pretty much what the electronic signature piece is. It's just telling you that you're going to sign some forms. These are some of the common forms that we've just talked about: the CIS, or the Consumer Information Statement, your dual agency form, and your exclusive buyer agency form. Those are some of the forms you may see when you are filling out paperwork and working with your realtor. Nothing to be afraid of if you ever wanted to terminate your relationship with your realtor, especially those of you who are working with realtors who have not spoken about the NAR settlement to you yet. All you need to do is send an email and just let them know that you no longer want to work with them. That is how you end your agreement with your realtor. That's all you need to do. So if you were interested in any way, shape, or form on going through a consultation with us, feel free to reach out. That information is in the chat. And I also have it scrolling down below. So do reach out to us so that we can help you with your needs, because I think it's imperative that we start to actually explain this stuff. I mean, we're seeing the conversations on social media, not so much on television, but it is happening and affecting us in everyday life. And I think it's important that we continue to educate our buyers on what they have coming up against them in this real estate market. And then making an offer. You fall in love, whatever the house is, or for our investors, it cash flows, right? The ROI looks good. The NOI looks good, especially if we're working on multifamilies. I actually recently just closed a multifamily this week. Very, 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 very happy about that. Congratulations to my client. And they bought the property $30K in equity, right, on the buy. So you want to make, a very wise person once told me that you make your money on the buy, right? And it's really, really, really important that you work with a realtor who understands that and that can get you to that place. And so my buyer was able to accomplish that this week. And he did buy a multifamily. And so these are some of the things that come up. So yeah, you may fall in love with the property if you're a retail buyer and you're really, really interested in buying your first or second home, or it may actually make some money, or we ran the numbers and it makes sense for you. What you'll need is your earnest money deposit, right? And so this is something that you've already communicated to your realtor that you're willing to put down. And this is a refundable deposit that you'll put down for the property, and it'll allow you to say, I'm committed to this house and this house is committed to me for the life of this transaction until we close. Once you close, then the house is transferred from you as from the seller to you as the buyer, right? And so that earnest money deposit can be pretty much whatever you want it to be. Though I would recommend you putting as much as you can down, just because it shows the seller that you're really interested and that you're serious, but you don't always have to. It just depends on where we are and what we're doing. Right. Some investors do a flat fee every single time, and they just do the same earnest money every single time. And that's what works for them. And some buyers change it based off of what the agreement is and where we are in negotiations. Sometimes if we put a bigger earnest money down, we're more likely to get the property. It just depends on who the seller is. And those are some of the things that can happen. Your down payment and financed amount and some important dates. All of that information is going to come from your lender. And then your inclusions in the home offer will be accepted, countered, or declined, right? So these are some of the things, like, are we taking the refrigerator? Are we taking the ceiling fan is actually considered real property, so you wouldn't be able to take that. But let's say there was a chandelier that the owner was willing to give away. You can absolutely put that in your offer and ask that to be a part of the property. Some of the things, especially for my investors, what I normally do is remove debris from the home, right? Because sometimes, especially if there's tenants, they leave a lot of things behind, and we don't want to be responsible for that stuff. So we want to make sure that we put debris in the home and things of that sort, owner and tenants' personal property. We want to make sure some of those things are included in the offer, in the contract, so that we know that those things will be taken care of when it comes time to close, right? Because the less we have to pay for junk removal as investors, the better. And then as buyers of homes, homes, enough properties. Sometimes we actually want people to leave things behind, right? Because we're first-time home buyers, or maybe because there's things that we need or that we see that we can make use of. So it's really, really important that you understand the differences there, and you're able to acknowledge what things you actually want and what things you actually want to leave. Some of those things will be included in the offer. Some of them won't. Some of them can be negotiated later on. It just depends on who you're working with and how they work the offer for you. So I just wanted to give you all that kind of brief understanding. I just really wanted to, and we're going to share back to me really, really briefly. I really just wanted to bring you all up to speed on what's happening in the real estate market. I really wanted to do a brief consultation with you all just so that you guys can get a little bit of a peek of kind of how we do what we do here at Darrell Bailey Real Estate. And I really wanted to just give you all the opportunity to reach out and connect with realtors who are doing this each and every single day. They've given you the reasons why you would overpay for a property, and I put overpay in quotes, right? Because we talked a little bit about appreciation and how important that is. And sometimes we don't necessarily, we talk about interest rates more than we talk about appreciation. And in some of these areas, the appreciation is actually considerably high. And if you don't know where those areas are, make sure you reach out to one of us so that we can explain to you the markets that you should be buying in. Especially for those of you who are looking for low cost properties to buy as well, or those of you who are looking to buy land. We do have land lots for sale as well. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you're looking to get into new construction, or you're interested in buying a new construction multifamily home, we do have a developer that is wrapping up developments in Linden. So if you're interested in those properties as well, make sure you reach out to us so that we can get you connected and you're able to acquire some of those investments. Sometimes in real estate, it's really just about who you know and connecting with the people who can help. And we are the people who can do that. So I'm really glad that you all were able to take some time to spend some time with us today. If you have any questions about real estate, about where you can buy, about the deals we have, please do reach out to us. I'm going to leave our contact information, our show notes. Those of you who are reaching out to us on Facebook and Instagram, we also have the link to YouTube, and I'll leave the show notes there as well. Thank you all so much for connecting with us and spending some time with the Darrell Bailey Real Estate team. We do this. We're going to start doing this at the end of last Thursday of every month so that we can come to you, but we'll continue to show footage on Thursdays so that you all can get up to date on some of the things that we have going on. And we have a lot more to show for you, a lot more people to connect you with, and a lot more gems share, especially because of everything that's happening in the market right now. There's so much more that we have to offer. So I'm glad that you all were able to connect with us on this one, and we look to seeing you next time. Talk soon. Bye-bye.